Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Mariah Bruner and I'm UCA's Wellness Coordinator serving faculty and staff. Thank you so much for joining us today. This session is called Mindfulness and it will be led by Beth Racklin. She is BeWell's graduate assistant and she is also a UCA PhD student in counseling psychology. The session will last approximately 25 minutes and we will leave plenty of time at the end for questions. And at the end of the session, I will be sure to share the process for claiming the 5 lifestyle reward points. So our learning objectives for today, we're going to learn what the term mindfulness means. We're going to explore how to practice mindfulness to manage stress and anxiety. And we're going to learn how to access various online mindfulness resources. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Beth. So Beth, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to let you share yours.
Hello, everybody. Give me 1 second to start sharing the screens. Okay, can everybody see my mindfulness slide?
Yes, Beth, it looks good.
Perfect. So, as Mariah said, I'm Beth Racklin, BeWell's graduate assistant, and today I will be talking about mindfulness. Here's what we're going to learn about today: what mindfulness is in broad brushstrokes, some key features of mindfulness, how mindfulness ties into psychological stress and neuroscience, everyday mindfulness, and even mindfulness with kids. Do you know the feeling when you're doing something familiar in routine, like the dishes or driving, and your mind wanders and suddenly you realize that you're thinking about something completely different and no longer focusing on what you're doing? Well, this is called automatic pilot mode, and it means that you're not in touch with the here and now. You can think of mindfulness as being the complete opposite of this. Mindfulness has garnered quite a few different definitions as it's increased in popularity, and there's quite an overlap between them. Mindfulness is experiencing the here and now. It's a way to train your attention using senses and perceptions, and it's your ability to be fully present, aware of where and what you're doing. Now I'll touch on a few key features of mindfulness. The first is contemplation of the body, which is simply paying attention to your breathing and posture, as well as paying attention to sensations, such as standing, sitting down, lying down, or walking. Mindful eating is a fun exercise that you can do at home or really anywhere. All you need is something that you enjoy eating. Taking the food in your hand, you can examine it closely. What does it feel like? What do you see? Does it make any sound? What do you smell? Next, put it in your mouth and experience it on your tongue. Pause. Take one bite. Experience what happens. Pause again. And this time, eat the normal way. What do you notice this time? Another way to contemplate the body is by doing something called the body scan. This creates moment-to-moment awareness in one's body by starting at the feet and moving upward. For this, it's best to be in the supine position, which is just lying horizontally with your face and chest facing upward, because this position best facilitates calmness and feelings of relaxation. The body scan can help you become more aware and accepting of your body, and it's an effective approach to working with body sensations, as well as feelings of pain and or discomfort. Health Check 360 has a few short guided meditation resources, including a body scan, that you can find on our website on our resources tab. The next key feature of mindfulness that I'll discuss is contemplation of feelings. This is simply noticing and noting your feelings, whether they're pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. The goal here is to observe feelings as they come and go with an attitude of acceptance, neutrality, and curiosity. If you get caught in an experience or a strong emotion, simply try to notice it, relax, let it go, and then gently return to observing and noticing. The third key feature of mindfulness I'll talk about is contemplation of the mind. This is observing your mind and its habitual responses. Noticing impermanence can be a byproduct of practicing mindfulness, because as we become more mindful, it becomes clear that really not much is permanent. Take emotions, for example. Whether they're positive or negative, eventually they will pass. This is a double-edged sword, because while it can be heartening that our bad moods are only temporary, this understanding extends to positives in our lives as well. While this realization can be unnerving and maybe even feel overwhelming, this understanding can help motivate us to truly cherish our lives and appreciate each moment. Tying this back to contemplation of the mind, this helps you to develop your attention span, as well as your ability to stay calm, cool, and collected in all situations. The last key feature of mindfulness I'll discuss is contemplation of universal laws of matter and mind. This is rooted in the goal of being open to experiencing life as it is now. This means observing your direct experience and noticing all experiences, so including ones that lead to suffering, such as desire, greed, restlessness, or even doubt, as well as ones that lead to a sense of vitality and wholeness. The practice of mindfulness leads to greater understanding of our habitual patterns and how to overcome those that are limiting. The key here is to be non-judgmental and gentle with yourself while striving toward a life approach that will bring you more fulfillment and happiness. Now that we have a general understanding of mindfulness, I'll discuss some ways that you can weave it into your daily life. There are both formal and informal practices. First, I'll talk about a few formal practices. These could include formal meditation, and formal meditation can take many forms. It could be sitting or walking. We talked about the body scan earlier, and this is a great formal practice for everyday mindfulness. Yoga is also incredible. Also, journaling is a great place to start sorting out your feelings and even identifying triggers. Personally, over the years, I have relied on journaling as a way to process my emotions in challenging situations, whether it's boy drama or graduate school stuff. And over the years, there have been times when I've been more consistent than others. But I will say, when I'm consistent about writing in my journal, even if it's only for like 5 minutes a day, after a week or two, I notice big differences. I feel less emotionally reactive to situations, I'm calmer, and I find I'm better able to articulate my thoughts. If you want to start journaling, it can be simple. Try to notice and write down what you want to push away. So this could be something that you're thinking about or negative emotions. And then notice and write down what you want to hold on to. So your pleasant emotions. Challenge yourself to write about your experiences, your body sensations, your feelings, emotions, thoughts, and what all of these lead to, so the results or consequences of how you're experiencing your life. Mapping your experiences in this fashion helps you begin to see patterns in your life. When you notice patterns that lead to things you don't want, it's the perfect time to start tinkering to see what's a healthier pattern or lifestyle for you. Touching on some informal practices of everyday mindfulness, these can be woven into every part of your day. So by intentionally focusing on experiencing daily experiences, that's mindfulness. So you could focus on the sensations of brushing your teeth, or the water hitting your back when you're taking a shower, or even what your shampoo smells like. Also, mindful eating is another way to practice everyday mindfulness. It's important to remember that mindfulness isn't about getting rid of stress. It's about changing our relationship with it. I know that sometimes mindfulness can have a reputation for being hippy-dippy, but there are a lot of stats and science proving that mindfulness is legitimate. So I wanted to share some of the facts with you. First, some things that are negatively correlated with mindfulness. And all that negatively correlated means is that as someone is increasingly mindful, the listed constructs would decrease accordingly. So somebody who experiences more mindfulness, on average, would experience less depression, neuroticism, absent-mindedness, disassociation, rumination, social anxiety, fewer difficulties in emotional regulation, less experiential avoidance, and less alexithymia, which is an inability to understand, process, and verbalize emotions. Turning our attention to the column on the right, this list is of things that are positively correlated with mindfulness. That is, the more mindful someone is, it is likely these things will also increase. So if someone has higher mindfulness, they would probably also have higher levels of life satisfaction. They would be more agreeable and conscientious. They would experience more vitality, have higher self-esteem, have a more developed sense of autonomy, be more confident, more optimistic, have a pleasant affect, and even have enhanced performance on tasks assessing sustained attention. So they would be able to concentrate better. As you know, meditation is one popular way to be mindful, and here are a few fun facts that studies found about people who meditated regularly. Compared to non-meditators, meditators report higher levels of mindfulness, self-compassion, and an overall sense of well-being. Compared to non-meditators, meditators also report lower levels of rumination, fear of emotion, and difficulties with emotional regulation. Regular meditation practice is associated with enhanced cognitive flexibility and attentional focusing. You can think of cognitive flexibility as being similar to multitasking. It's just your ability to switch between thinking about different things quickly. And attentional focusing is just what it sounds like. It's your ability to focus your attention. Mindfulness also supports growth and regeneration of hippocampus gray area matter. This area of your brain has to do with memory and learning, so we want this area to be as strong as possible. Additionally, mindfulness is correlated with a decrease of matter in the amygdala. This part of your brain has many jobs, including threat detection. If this part of your brain is smaller, on a neurobiological level, you're less able to detect threats and be stressed. Last, mindfulness helps develop the prefrontal cortex. This area is involved in your sense of well-being, so we definitely want this to be healthy. Here is an infographic that a medical doctor created to illustrate the reactions that happen in your body when you shift your reactions and become more mindful, or conversely, are not mindful. So here you can see that when the person is stressed and automatically reacting instead of pausing to thoughtfully consider a situation, the body responds very differently. On the left in orange, the automatic reaction is detailed, including increases of stress hormones and the impacts that this has on blood pressure, heart rate, and even immune systems. Turning our attention to the right, the blue side, we can see that mindfulness facilitates the release of healthy hormones and chemicals, as well as supporting adaptive and healthy coping. I didn't go into a whole lot of detail here, but the takeaway is that science shows how just interpreting situations differently can be healthier for your body at a physiological level. I know that times are wild and unpredictable with everything that's happening now with the coronavirus. Hopefully today's presentation can help you to navigate these times. I imagine quite a few of you are lucky to have kiddos you care about in your life, and if you happen to be, should we say, stuck at home with them, I've got some activities for you that can help to mindfully pass the time. But first, does mindfulness even work with kids? Well, research shows that it definitely does. Mindfulness has been found to mitigate the effects of bullying, enhance focus in children with ADHD, reduce attention problems, improve mental health and well-being, and when well taught and practiced, can help improve social skills. Next, I'll provide a brief overview of 4 mindful activities that you can do with your kids or by yourself. If you don't have children in your life, hopefully you still find this part interesting, but stick around because I'll provide some resources for adults after this. One simple approach to introducing your children to mindfulness is through body poses. The goal is to have your kids learn that mindfulness is fun and healthy. One way to get this point across is to teach them that doing fun poses can help them feel strong, brave, and happy. Mindful poses are best done in quiet, familiar places that feel safe. Today, I'm highlighting 2 mindful poses, but feel free to get creative and come up with your own. The first I'll be touching on is the Superman. So here, the feet would be just wider than the hips, the fists clenched and the arms reaching out to the sky, stretching the body as tall as possible. The second mindful pose is called Wonder Woman. And here you would stand tall with your legs a little bit wider than hip width apart and have your hands and fists on your hips. Spidey senses is another mindful activity, and this one's focused on helping your kids stay present. This will encourage them to take a minute to focus entirely on the present using all of their senses. I know that this is a mindful activity for kids, but people of all ages can tap into their super spidey senses simply by focusing on smell, sight, hearing, taste, touch, all of your senses. So a fun way to do this is just to ask your kids to turn on their spidey senses and then maybe have a competition to see who has better spidey senses. Next is the mindful jar, and this is a great tool for helping kids learn how to find calmness within themselves when emotions feel overwhelming. To make a mindful jar, first you fill a clear jar almost all the way to the top with water. Then you add a heaping spoonful of glitter, put the lid back on, and shake the jar really fast to make the glitter swirl. The last step is the most important, and this is reframing the glitter jar into a lesson. Some research was done about the mindful jar, and the researchers came up with an example script to illustrate how to make this a learning opportunity. So the script they came up with says, imagine that the glitter is like your thoughts when you're stressed, mad, or upset. See how they whirl around and make it hard to see clearly? That's why it's so easy to make silly decisions when you're upset, because you're not thinking clearly. Don't worry, this is normal, and it happens to all of us. Yep, even grown-ups too. And then they say to set the jar down in front of your kids, and then you say, now, watch what happens when you're still for a couple of moments. Keep watching. See how the glitter starts to settle down and the water clears? Well, your mind works the exact same way. When you're calm for a little while, your thoughts start to settle and you start to see things much clearer. Deep breaths during this calming process can help us settle when we feel a lot of emotions. Taking a safari is a clever way to upgrade an everyday walk into an exciting escapade. Just say, we're going on a safari. The goal for this activity is to notice as many birds, bugs, creepy crawlies, flowers, rocks, etc. as possible. And this is to create a state of awareness and grounding in the present. You can even make it a game by having a competition to see who can spot the most creepy crawlies. After mindful practice, ask your kids how they feel. You may be surprised how much of a difference mindfulness makes. I wanted to wrap up by leaving you with some resources. So we have some really cool resources on our BeWell website, which I'll touch on. And then in a minute, I'll also touch on some apps that you can download and have on your phone anywhere you go. So first of all, there's a partnership between the Arkansas Department of Health and Healthy Active Arkansas, and they're offering free 20-minute mindfulness sessions by a certified mindfulness coach. They're offered live weekly on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or you can go on their website and watch previous recordings at a convenient time for you. Additionally, as I mentioned before, Health Check 360 offers short guided meditations on breathing, happiness, and body scans. Again, all of these resources are on our website. Moving on to apps, I found a few favorites that I'll briefly go over. Simple Habit is all about creating a routine of meditation. Happify, the goal is to foster more positive thinking. The Headspace app has a free course on the basics of mindfulness and meditation, but it also offers a variety of guided meditations. Beautify is for those of you whose schedules are full, but you still want to weave mindfulness into your day. It has meditations that are specifically for when you're traveling, walking, right before bed, and right when you wake up, because that's when they think that you'll be by yourself or have the fewest responsibilities. The next app is called 10% Happier, and the goal of this app is to help you become more consistent in meditation. So it offers daily meditations as well as access to chat with a meditation coach. The last app I'll talk about today is called Mindfulness, and this one seems really sweet because it has reminders that pop up at random times throughout the day with mindful prompts, such as reminding you to take a minute for gratitude or to notice something pretty around you. This brings us to the end of what I hope was an entertaining and informative presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. And at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions, but also I'm going to hand the screen back to Mariah.
Thank you so much, Beth. Yes, if you would stop sharing your screen.
I don't know how to do that.
There should be a stop share function there.
Sorry.
While we're switching,
Technical
thank you.
difficulty,
Yep,
but
you
we're good
got it.
now.
Yeah, you're good. While we're switching back over, if you all can use your chat feature and submit any questions that you have for Beth, that would be great. And we'll get to those in just a moment. I'm going to give you just a few moments to see if anything comes up. I know quite a few people had some issues logging on, or they joined a little bit late. And I just wanted to remind everyone that this session has been recorded and it's going to be loaded to the BeWell website later this afternoon. You can head to uca.edu/BeWell/resources, and it will be available there. So if just in case you missed the first part, it'll be there. Okay, so Beth, Kim just wanted to let you know, thank you. That was great advice on how to remain mindful. And Michael said, thanks for the presentation. And Leanna says, helpful suggestion. Thank you.
Oh, you all are so kind. Thank you for
Yeah, that's
listening.
really good
I hope
feedback.
this was helpful.
Okay, I'm not seeing any questions, just some really nice compliments. So we appreciate those too.
Thank you.
So I'm going to just wrap us up here. If I can be technical here for a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this session counts for one of the on-site education sessions. Of course, we can't do those on-site now, so this is in place of those, but you can still get your 5 lifestyle reward points for viewing this session. You can send me an email at ucabewell@uca.edu, or you can send it to my personal email or my personal work email, mbruner1, whatever works best for you, whatever pops up first. Please use the subject line mindfulness education session. You don't even have to include a message. I'll know what that means. And I will email you back with a certificate of attendance for today. And you can submit that via My Health Check 360, either the website or the app on your phone. And again, make sure you're using the education sessions on-site category, and you'll get your 5 points. Just a reminder that you can earn a maximum of 60 points in this category for the program year. And something new that I wanted to mention is that we want to make sure that we're evaluating every education session. And so when I email you back with that certificate, I'm also going to include a link to a very short SurveyMonkey evaluation. It'll take you about a minute to complete. It just has like 3 or 4 really simple questions. And so we just appreciate you taking just that minute to fill that out and letting us know how we're doing. And lastly, I just wanted to leave you with my contact information. That is my email, and my office phone number is currently forwarded to my cell phone, so you can still use that phone number. And you can visit the website, like I mentioned earlier, and then also please follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I keep those very up to date, make a lot of announcements, and just announce news and programming that way as well. I think I have a question that came in. Let me see if I can get to that. Here we go. Oh, the question was, that was a good question, Melanie. Was there an evaluation link to the last one? There was not. Thank you for asking. We just started doing that. So from this point going forward, there will be an evaluation link. Okay, well, that is it. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.